Hi there, welcome to my channel. If you're new here, I'm Sarah with Jujube Crafts and more. If you like what you see, I hope you will join me in my DIY journey and subscribe. After you subscribe, make sure you hit that little bell so you can be notified the next time I upload a new video. I upload weekly and I'm working on a permanent schedule. For today's DIYs, I use mostly all Dollar Tree products and am doing a snowman theme. I hope you like this video and find some frosty snowman building inspiration. So let's get started on this first DIY. To get started, I'm using this pumpkin stacking plaque that I bought this year at the Dollar Tree. And I'm just going to use my utility knife and a straight edge to score off the little hat and the very bottom there where those little bumps are that were pumpkin-y. So now it's looking more like a snowman, and to make him look even more snowmanish, we're going to paint him white. I'm just using the apple barrel regular acrylic paint, and it definitely took 2 coats. Next, I'm going to paint these painter sticks that I cut down. The long one is 8 inches and the 2 shorter ones are 4 inches. And I just used my miter box and saw to do that. And I painted those white as well. Next, I'm just going to use my glue gun, and I'm going to glue that smaller one on top of the longer one right in the center. And then I will glue that other small one right on top of the other small one. And this will make his hat. Next, I'm going to use some craft sticks to be able to put his hat on his head. Next, I'm just going to use some gray paint, and I'm just going to kind of grunge him up with a dry brush. Now, you don't have to do this step if you don't like that look, but I wanted my snowman to be a little grungy looking. In my Cricut, I created this decal using some inspiration I found on Pinterest. Next, I'm adding some snowflakes that are just those little stickers you can get at the Dollar Tree, and I'm adding a hanger to the back. And this is how this little guy turned out. I think it is just so adorable. I got my inspiration from a picture I saw on Pinterest, and I love how this one turned out. I think it is so cute, and who knew you could have turned him into a snowman from pumpkins. Our next DIY, you're going to need one of these wreath forms that are the foam ones, and then 2 of the small double pack wreath forms, and a few of these duster mop head replacement heads that you can buy back in the cleaning section. And I'm going to take that smaller wreath form, and basically I cut that mop head in half, and I'm going to wrap the mop head around this wreath form, just using some hot glue. Now, you don't have to cut these in half. I chose to because I was being a little frugal and didn't want to have to buy an extra mop head. But you definitely don't have to cut these in half. And I do want to warn you that it is pretty messy. This fluff gets everywhere. But at least it's soft and fuzzy, and it reminds me of snow, so it made me happy. And I'm just using generous amounts of hot glue here to just glue it on. And I'll continue doing that all the way around the wreath form. And with any craft, you just keep gluing and playing with it until you're happy with how it looks. And then I'm using full-size mop heads for the bigger wreath form. And I'm just gluing and folding it around so that the whole entire form is covered. Give me a little haircut for some longer pieces. Next, I'm going to use some of this glittery black felt that I had in my stash. And I'm just cutting it down. I think it's like a 6x6 piece. And then I cut down a shorter piece that was about 3 inches, I think, by 8. And then I'm just adding some medium-sized popsicle sticks in there to help give it some stability. And then I'm just wrapping the felt around to make the hat brim. And another craft stick there. Next, I'm going to take some red felt, and this also has glitter on it. And I'm just going to wrap that around the base of the hat there. And that's probably like a 1-inch strip. Maybe 1.5. It's your craft. You get to decide how big your little red ribbon is. Now, just for funsies, I decided to cover the back of the hat. Next, I'm going to take, this is a candle wreath from the Dollar Tree. And I'm just going to take it apart a little bit here. Let's use like this holly leaf, and then I'm going to add some of the berries and some of the little greenery that were in it. So I'm just cutting off bits and pieces that I'd like to use on my little hat, and then hot gluing those on. Again, this is your snowman, so you get to create whatever look you want for the hat. And then I just decided I wanted to round the corners of the top there a little bit. Now, using a good amount of hot glue, I'm going to just put this right onto my little snowman head. And then using some white yarn that I had in my stash, I'm just looping it around both of the wreath forms and tying it together. I did make sure that I tied from side to side there. And then using a piece of fabric that I had in my stash also, I made him a little scarf. And this guy is so cute. I cannot wait to put him on my front door. This is where he's gonna live this year. And I am in love with him. He's so soft and fuzzy, and just so simple and cute. Now for DIY number 3, you're going to use one of the perpetual calendars from the Dollar Tree. I picked up this one because it was more square, and I liked that. I did have to trim off a little bit on the bottom to make it a perfect rectangle. I mean rectangle, not square. So I just used my utility knife to create a perfect rectangle on that background piece. And I just took it all apart, and now I'm painting the white pieces that were the months, and then I'm giving that black front piece a coat of paint. And this is the Waverly chalk paint in ink. I also did cut a little piece of wood that I'm going to put underneath my little calendar piece. And let's see, that guy was 3 1/4 by, or no, I'm sorry, 2 3/4 by 3/4 inches. And here you're just going to see me gluing that piece that I was talking about to the bottom of this rectangle box. And then I'm going to glue that back on to the rectangle background piece. And I'm going to make sure that that bottom block that I glued on is flush with that bottom of the rectangle. Now for the white sticks that I'm putting on here, these are just the small popsicle sticks that you can buy at the Dollar Tree, and they are about 2.5 inches long. And I used 7 white ones for this. Now, depending on what calendar or what you're going to use, you might need more or less. You just want to eyeball it, and you obviously want more white than black. So then I had come to the top of my rectangle, and I knew I needed a couple more pieces for the black hat. So all I'm doing is I'm cutting down some popsicle sticks here, and I'm just going to make an extender for that rectangle. So I'm just going to hot glue these little pieces right to the top, and then I can continue adding on the other black popsicle sticks to create the hat. And I end up using 4 of the black popsicle sticks. And in a second, when I lay it down, you'll see what I did exactly to extend that backing. And then I can just keep going with my black popsicle sticks. And I did have to trim it down a little bit, but no worries. And then this piece here is cut to 3 1/4 inches long, that longer stick that I use for the brim of the hat. Next, I'm just going to glue all 3 of these. They were the month little tags. I'm just gluing them together because I don't want them to be loose. And then I'm going to put days till on that piece. And on that bottom piece that I glued on, I'm going to put Christmas. Next, I cut out a little carrot nose out of paper. And then I'm just going to use the back of a tool to create the eyes and mouth. And then I'm using some chalk to create some rosy cheeks. I'm also going to use some felt to create a little hat, brim decoration, and a piece of fabric for his scarf. And I just folded that into a little knot at the side there. And you didn't see me add the extra decoration to the hat there, but I just used some pieces of bag greenery that I'd used before, and I just glued it to the top of the hat. Now, 62 days till Christmas. It's actually 61 days till Christmas, guys. Can you believe it? It's getting so close. I love this one. I think he might be my favorite. Next DIY. We're going to start out with one of the snow globes from the Dollar Tree and a large ornament. I just hot glued that little red truck onto a block, and then hot glued the block into the snow globe part. Next, I'm going to take some long tweezers that I bought from the Dollar Tree, and I'm just going to put some hot glue on the bottoms of these little trees. These were the little mini bottle brush trees that came in like a 10-pack. And I'm just going to glue 3 of those right into the bottom of this large ornament, clear ornament. Next, I'm going to take this faux snow, and I'm just going to pour some in both pieces. Using a generous amount of hot glue, I'm just going to glue the base of the snow globe into the lid of the snow globe, so it sets nicely on the counter or wherever you're going to place it. Next, I'm going to add some more hot glue to the top there. And that's like the little piece that keeps the water from coming out if you use it as a snow globe. And I just glued a Jenga piece to that, and then I'm just going to glue the ornament to the Jenga piece. And that's just because it was didn't go in far enough to glue right to the bottom there. Next, I'm just using some permanent markers and creating a face for my little snowman. Using a sock from the Dollar Tree, I just cut down a little bit, and I'm just going to hot glue that to his little head. And then I'm just going to take some ribbon and tie a bow around the top, making a cute little hat for this little snowman. Next, I wanted to create a scarf. So I'm taking the toe of the sock and I'm just going to slit a little bit up, and then I'm going to start cutting around in a spiral kind of. And that way you can get a longer piece. And since these are like stretchy socks, you don't really see like where it's not completely perfect. So this technique works really well for this type of material. And voila, matching scarf and hat out of one sock. And isn't he so cute? He's so fluffy and snowy looking. And here's a look at him complete. Now, I'm not entirely sure about his head and his face. I almost wish that I would have just filled it all in white and left the trees out, but I also do kind of like the look of the trees. So let me know in the comments down below what you would do differently with this guy. Would you paint his whole head in and then create the face on top of it? Or do you like him the way he is? I think either way he's pretty cute. And I love the little red truck in his belly. Now for DIY number 5. This one is pretty easy. I'm just using a pom-pom maker to make 2 different size pom-poms. And if you don't have a pom-pom maker, there are definitely tutorials out there on YouTube showing you how to create pom-poms using cardboard. But these guys are pretty inexpensive, especially with a coupon. And I'm a yarn crafter a lot. I do crochet and knitting, and so pom-poms are definitely a must in my crafting. And so these pom-pom makers are just a huge part of my stash, so I have them on hand. So you're gonna just attach the smaller pom-pom to the bigger pom-pom, and you have an instant hairy snowman. Next, I'm gonna take another sock from the Dollar Tree, and at first I thought I was just gonna make him a little neck wrap, but it looked weird, so I did cut that in half, and I'm just gonna wrap it around his neck like a regular scarf. Fluff him out. You always have to give him a nice haircut when you're done doing the pom-poms because they're always uneven, so that's kind of fun too. Next, I'm going to get out some pom-poms, store-bought pom-poms for some earmuffs. And then I've got a chenille stem in the color green to match his green pom-poms. And then I'm just going to wrap that chenille stem around something round, like a pencil, or I'm using a crochet hook because there was a sling there. But you could use anything round, paintbrush, whatever. And then I'm just going to make a little spiral out of it, and that will be the top of the earmuffs. So then I'm just going to hot glue those right to his little head. Glue the pom-poms to that, and here you go. Super cute, easy little snowman. My oldest daughter saw him and she squealed, and then she said, "He's mine." So I guess he's gonna go live in her room for the winter, probably forever. I don't know. Anyhow, he's really cute, and they're so easy and simple to make. And now for our last DIY. So I lost the footage of me painting this milk bottle, but this is just one of the milk bottles you can pick up at the Dollar Tree, and I just used a multi-purpose white paint on that, and I did give it 2 coats of paint. Next, I'm going to take this foam ball that you can get from the floral department, and it's I think it comes in like a 3-pack, and I'm just using some twine, and I'm going to wrap that around. You don't have to go all the way to the bottom because we're going to glue that to the milk bottle, so you just need to go down far enough. Next, I took a popsicle stick and I created a little carrot nose from a popsicle stick, just using my scissors. Next, I'm going to take one of these little cups. These are like, I think they're, I want to say they're 2-ounce cups that you can get at Walmart for like snacks or whatever. I have them on hand for snacks, for my girls really like to put peanut butter in it for their apples and peanut butter. But I'm just going to give this a faux galvanized look with the paint. So I start out with a light gray paint and then go to a darker gray paint, and then I'll finish up with a silver paint. And you just dab that on with makeup sponges. Really easy. There's lots of great tutorials out there for how to do this if you're interested. Next, I'm going to take some nutmeg brown, and I'm just going to dab on some quote-unquote rust. Next, I'm going to take a little bit of twine, and I'm just going to wrap right at the base of that little cup. A couple times. I think I did 2 times, 3 times maybe. Again, it's your project, so you do what makes your heart happy. Next, I'm going to take a little bit of greenery, again from that candle wraparound piece that I got at the Dollar Tree. I just clipped out these little pieces, and I'm just going to glue them to the top. I'm trying to decide which side was flatter there. So I wanted to lay more flat. Next, I'm going to take some of these berries that I bought from the Dollar Tree, and I'm just going to clip off 3 of the little berries, and I'll hot glue those to the top of this as well. And then I decided that it needed a little extra something there. So I'm going to glue that in. Sorry guys, I should have sped up through this. It was a little longer than I intended. So, but we're already to voiceover mode, and it's a little harder to delete at this point. So, sorry. Next time. I think I'm getting better and better about where to edit and where to delete and so on and so forth. So eventually I'll get there. So I really appreciate your patience with my learning here. Next I'm going to take some hot glue, and I'm just going to put some hot glue right around the rim of that milk bottle. And then you guessed it, we're just going to glue that little round twine ball right on top. Next, we're going to take our little hat, and we're going to glue that right to the top of our twine ball. And I chose to put it on at an angle. I kind of wanted to look a little disheveled and cute and rustic. So next I'm going to glue on his little carrot nose, and I'm just leaving this plain wood. Again, I wanted it to be more rustic looking, and so I chose to just leave the wood natural there. Next, I'm going to glue on some buttons. These are wood buttons that I had in my stash, and I just painted them black. And I'm just going to glue those right wherever I think those eyes need to be. And that's why I put the hat on first, was because I wanted to figure out kind of where I wanted the eyes after I had the hat on. Now we can see, yay! Now these, I'm just gluing on some little gems that were part of a, I don't know, they were like a package that you could get with different sizes. And I'm just gluing those on to make a little smiley face. Next, I'm going to cut some fabric I had in my stash. This is just a piece of felt. No, not felt. It's flannel. Just a piece of flannel that I had in my stash. And I am just going to wrap that around his neck, tie it in a knot, and then I'm going to use my scissors to create a little fringe. Because every scarf needs a fringe, right? Especially a snowman scarf. So let's take a look at how he turned out. I love this guy. I think he's so cute and kind of rustic looking. If you wanted to, you could also kind of dirty up the milk bottle and make him even more rustic, but I just love this guy. I think he's probably my favorite, and then the countdown calendar is probably my second favorite. So let me know in the comments down below which one you like best. And if you've made it to the end, I cannot appreciate you enough, and I would like you to leave me a snowman in the comments. So that's all I have for you today. Thank you so much for taking time out of your day to spend some time with me. I really do appreciate it, and I'm so thankful for you. I hope you have a happy and blessed day, and I will talk to you soon. Bye!